5 seconds, folks. All right. Meeting is called to order. My name is Terry Thompson, and I'm the K County Coordinator in addition to other duties I do for the Oklahoma Second Amendment Association. The K County chapter has been active. Today is 3.5 years. We had our first meeting here in January of 2020. January of 2020. And I think I still hold the record for most attendance at one of our OK2A meetings. We had 120 people here the first time Nathan Dom was here. No recording, Sean. Sorry. Yeah, no recording. Sorry. I want everybody to be respectful and friendly. The way I run my meetings, folks, I run the meeting. I don't let somebody stand up and hijack my meeting. There will be questions at the end, but until then, and when I do questions, folks, raise your hand. I call on you one at a time and get right to your question. I don't let people get up and make a 10-minute speech before they ask the question. I run a meeting a little different than a lot of meetings, and it tends sometimes to upset people, but that's just the way it goes. It's my meeting. I'm the one that puts the time and effort into organizing it, so that's how we're going to do it. And if you do not follow the rules, you'll be warned once, and a second warning is necessary. You'll be asked to leave. I want to have an organized, civilized, adult meeting. Okay, we always start off with a prayer. And Pastor Jack, I just saw you come in. There he is. Folks, this is our host here. Pastor Jack and New Hope Christian Fellowship have been absolutely rock solid for a venue for 3.5 years. If you'll lead us in prayer, Pastor.
Praise God. It's good to see everybody here today. And if you've never been here, praise God, I'm glad you're here. It's a good day with God. Father, Lord, in the name of Jesus, we come before you, and Lord, we lift up this meeting. We ask, God, that you would place your hands here and that you would glorify your name. That, Lord, you would speak peace and unity. And, God, that there would be grace here. Lord, we just ask your hand to be upon the service, Lord. Amen. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Pastor. And Gary, where are you sitting? Gary Miles. There he is. Gary, this is Gary Miles, everybody. He is the local head of the VFW. Also, he is Veteran of the Year here in Oklahoma. Yeah, give him a hand. Can I get you to lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Okay. I see a lot of new faces here today, so I'm going to give a little introduction. Come on in. There's a sign-in sheet at the back table. If you'd sign in, I'd appreciate it. Hey! Wait, thank you for coming, brother. Good to see you. Sign-in sheet in the back. The Oklahoma Second Amendment Association is a liberty group. We concentrate on the Second Amendment because we may need that to preserve the rest of our liberties. But we are a liberty group. In the last 3 years, we've got 27 bills passed and signed into law, and only about 7 or 8 of those directly related to Second Amendment and firearm issues. The others were liberty bills. We have membership applications on the back table. Membership started at $25 a year. And one thing that's a little unique with OK2A is compared to a lot of political groups, the money you spend with us works. We're all volunteers except for our president and our lobbyist, and he's only been getting paid for the last 1.5 years or so. So, yeah, hey, Suzanne, come on in. Sign-in sheet in the back if you would. Okay, let's see here. We're not gun nuts, folks. We're liberty nuts. That's exactly what we're about. I'll be hanging around after the meeting. Anybody got any questions for me related to OK2A? please come up and talk to me. My cards are on the back table. I want everybody to take one. Next to my phone number, it says 24/7, and I mean that. You will never, ever bother me calling me with anything related to our liberty and our efforts. If you get my voicemail, it means I'm either asleep, eating a $50 steak, or in a meeting. Leave a message. I will call you back. Guaranteed. Okay. I already mentioned no recording allowed. Now, I'm sure there are some people here that may disagree with us. I don't know who that might be, but if you want to, come on in. If you want to express your views, if you'll come talk to me after the meeting, I will be more than glad to schedule you as a speaker at my meeting here next month or any of the upcoming months. I encourage people with opposing views to come forward so I can counteract those. Anyway, hey, Chris, hey, welcome. Sign-in sheet in the back. Thanks for coming. Rick, thank you for coming, brother. Sign-in sheet. Wait a minute. Did I mention there's a sign-in sheet? Okay. As I said, I run the meetings. I'm not running the K County GOP anymore because they didn't like the way I run a meeting, but I keep a tight agenda on the meetings. Yeah, come on in. Welcome. Sign in and back. There's a sign-in sheet. I don't allow disruptions. I expect everyone here to act in an adult, civilized manner. We're going to have possibly 4 speakers today. Matt Oberdick is our main speaker. He is Director of External Relations with the Department of Education. And how long have you been on the job, Matt? 5 months on the job. And so he's going to be our main speaker, but we are blessed to have, first off, our President, Don Spencer. If you'd stand up, Don, let everybody see you. This is the man, folks. Chris, there's seats up front here for you. He is our main lobbyist. He's at the state legislature every minute they're in session, and I've heard him be referred to as a PIA sometimes. That's the job description, isn't it? Also, Wade, where you at? Oh, wait, I got chairs over here. Okay, well, wherever you want to sit. Wade, stand up. Everybody, this is Wade Burleson, recent congressional candidate for District 3. And Wade, you're chairman of the board of the Oklahoma Conservative Political Action Committee and Foundation, or just the foundation? Folks, they have meetings almost every Wednesday in Oklahoma City, historic building right next to the Capitol. I go down there every chance I get. It's an hour-and-a-half drive for me, and it is a well-spent hour-and-a-half. They always have great speakers and a great program, and it's a great place to get to meet and greet some people from all over the state. Highly recommended. If you want any detailed information on that, again, grab one of my cards. You can call me. Thank you for coming, Wade. Reed Downey, where you at? Okay, I got seats for you up front here, but that's okay. Reed Downey, School Board for Kids. Reed is on the front lines fighting for our kids and our school boards here in Oklahoma. He spends, in fact, he's probably the only guy in the room that's older than me, and he puts me in the dust. He's running flat out all the time. I want to welcome him here. Thank you very much, Reed. And last but certainly not least, we've got Chris Banning. Stand up, Chris. What's your district number?
House District 24.
House District 24. This is his first term, and he is one of our conservative superstars down there at the Capitol. We are blessed. Thank you for coming. He drove 2 hours to get here today, just to show his support. We really appreciate it. Also, Kendall Marr. Kendall, where are you at? Stand up. Stand up. Kendall Marr, folks. This is our online department. He's the entire OK2A online department. When you see Don at his H&H meetings, Kendall's the one that is doing the technical stuff on that, and he handles all of our online stuff. We're blessed to have him. He's been, how long have you been with Don now? with OK2A? 6 years. He's one. Well, it's that big paycheck, right, Chris? All right, Kendall? Okay. Rob Oberdick, where are you at? There he is. Rob Oberdick. He's on your Ponca City Council, and he is the conservative voice on the Ponca City Council. Yeah, thank you for coming. Okay, and I know we have a number of coordinators here. If the OK2A coordinators that are here and co-coordinators would please rise. Okay. Now, stay up. We're going to start here. Alan, announce your name and your chapter.
Alan Jewell, I'm with the Grant and Alabama County.
They meet in Medford. When are your meetings?
Third Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. at the
Yeah, if you have any friends up in that area, give them the word. Wade?
Wade Geroy, Nowata County Coordinator. We just started our chapter in November. So we meet every third Thursday, 6:30 at Guys and Guns, or Gals and Guns in Nowata. For now,
Yeah.
they've sold the place, so we'll have to change it.
And last time I saw Wade, he came and spent about an hour and a half in my hot garage helping me work on my slingshot. I appreciate it, brother.
Scott Jessen, Garfield County, second Thursday of every month at the DAB in Eden.
Rick?
Canadian and Grady County, we meet the second Saturday of every month at 10 o'clock at Liberty Church in Utah.
Thank you, Rick. Brian?
My name's Brian Morris. I'm with Rick Moore in Canadian County. So everything you just said applies to me as well.
Tom, hey, good to see you, man. You're up.
All right, Tom and Julie Dorsey, we run the Tulsa County chapter. We meet the fourth Thursday of the month at Heartland Church in West Tulsa at 6:30 p.m.
Wow.
Folks, every one of these guys does all this for no pay. The only pay we get out of this is the satisfaction of the work we do. And I'm blessed. The Lord dumped a whole new career in my lap when I was 72 years old, and it's changed my life. I'm almost 76, and every day when I get up, I have fun and excitement. And there's few people my age that can say that. I am blessed. Okay. As I said, our main speaker is Matt Oberdick. Matt, I'm going to turn the floor over to you. Do you want to hold the mic? Or? Okay. Lean into it.
We get situated here. You guys will have to forgive me. I'm not a public speaker, and so if I stop to take a sip of water, I'll try not to have a Marco Rubio moment where I make it look like the most awkward thing in the world. But just so you know. Can you guys hear me? I'm going to hold it. All right. Well, hey, guys, thank you so much for having me out here. Like has been said, my name is Matt Oberdick, and I am the Director of External Relations at the State Department of Education. First, I want to thank OK2A for inviting us, for extending this invitation for me to come out and speak with you guys today, just to share a little bit about what's taking place at the Department of Education. I want to start by telling you a little bit about myself and about this role, because I think it's important to the rest of what we're talking about this morning. So a little bit about myself. I have been married, and I am just absolutely in love and adore my wife of almost 14 years. We'll be celebrating 14 years here in a few months. I am honored and humbled to be the father of 3 beautiful and bright children. They are a great source of joy and fulfillment in our life. I am a graduate of the University of Oklahoma, and I feel so blessed to have been given this opportunity over the past few months to step into this new role in the State Department of Education. I am the child of a career-long public school elementary teacher. My wife was a high school English teacher in public school for just shy of a decade. So I want to say from the get-go that I have the utmost respect for teachers and the profession of teaching. It is a great career. It is a great calling that they do that they serve in that capacity. It is not something that is easy, and so I just wanted to say that up front. But had you told me 6 months ago that I would be doing this today, that I would be in this position today, I wouldn't have believed you. Almost for the entire 16 years of my adult vocational career, I've been in family ministry. So I've been a children's pastor and I've been a youth pastor since graduating college for the last 16 years. But 3 years ago, and probably closer to 4 now, I definitely felt God calling me into a different direction. And it's not because I love Jesus or love the church, his bride, any less. I just knew that God was closing that chapter of my life, and I could see new doors being opened for me and new opportunities. I started to do a lot of workshops, a lot of reading, a lot of seminars. I started doing some different fellowships and just a lot of different opportunities to start exploring what it looks like for me to use some of those same gifts and passion that I use in ministry, but just in a different vein. So my philosophy in ministry, and again, this makes sense to where we're going. So my philosophy in ministry, I think will serve me well in this new position that I find myself. And I think it's my philosophy in ministry, it's why the message of Superintendent Walters resonated so deeply in me early on in his campaign. My philosophy in ministry was that parents are the primary disciplers of their child. Not me as the family pastor, not me as the children or youth pastor, but the parent. The parent is the primary discipler of that child. Now, me and my team, me and my staff and my volunteers, we have a role to play in that. As the church, we have a role to play in the discipleship of those who are coming to our church. We have the responsibility of making sure that we're doing everything we can in our power to put forth a great opportunity for those children and for those parents that are entrusting us with their children. It was our responsibility to make sure that we were picking fantastic curriculum. It was our responsibility to, behind the scenes, put all the things together that ensured that the supplies, that the materials, that everything was there to set up the teachers for success. It was our responsibility to train the teachers on the curriculum, how to use the curriculum. It was our responsibility to help them understand how to interact with parents, how to deal with certain situations or obstacles as they arise in the classroom with the children. So we had a part. We had a part to play in this ministry to the children, but we always believed and we always went back to our efforts would fall short if we did not value, recognize, and honor the parent as the primary discipler of that child. So my job for the last 16 years has been to equip, resource, listen, and offer advice to parents. That's what the last 16 years of my life has been. And it's the job that I've been asked to do at the State Department of Education now. To view parents as the primary educator of their child, as the primary influencer of their child, and to begin to instill that in all areas of the State Department of Education. To view the parent as the primary educator, to equip, resource, listen, and from time to time, when asked, when invited to do so, to give advice as it relates to that parent being the biggest champion of that child's success. There will never be a bigger champion of a child's success than their parent, and that includes their education. So, as Director of External Relations at the State Department of Education, I know that I've been entrusted with a great responsibility, and I do not take that lightly. It's a responsibility to communicate, to talk, and to listen with parents. I'm looking out at this crowd, and I'm betting a lot of you are grandparents. It's to work with you too, because I know there are some situations, that there are some homes where the grandparent is the parent to the child. So my job is to speak to parents, grandparents, guardians, those who serve as the primary influence in that child's life and in their education. I also have the privilege of speaking with organizations like this from time to time. Organizations that love the Constitution, love America, love Oklahoma, and see the importance of reforming public education and protecting parental rights. So, yeah, absolutely. One of the coolest things over the last 5 months has been to travel across Oklahoma and to see the bigger and bigger tent, a growing tent of people focusing on those objectives of reforming public education and protecting parental rights. It's been great to see that there are so many people that are interested in that. Now, one of the most important things to know about me. This past week, I don't know if you guys have been following it, but this past week, all the attention, all the attempts to bully and shame and intimidate, which seems to be the only tool that some people have at their disposal, it's been surreal. It has been quite the experience, all the attention. Couple of things on that. One, it won't work. I will not be bullied and I will not be intimidated. There is a small number of people that seem loud, and I'm sure it's deafening within their small little echo chamber, just how loud they are. But one of the most important things to know about me is, guys, I understand that I'm a nobody. And I am not trying to be a somebody. I am not trying to be the most important person in the room. I am not trying to bring a spotlight onto me. I love helping others, and that's what I'm doing in this position. I love to set others up for success. So my goal of this position and what I've been asked to do in this position is to point a spotlight on parents, to point a spotlight and advocate for those who are the primary influence in a child's life, the parent. And that's what I'm going to accomplish in this position. So I say all that to say this. My position, the fact that it exists within the State Department of Education, is a direct result of the cultural shift the department is experiencing under the leadership of Superintendent Ryan Walters. It is a shift of focus. It is a new lens where we will begin to view everything through, does it honor, value, and protect the parent as the ultimate decision maker in all areas of a child's life? So we all know the adage, insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Where we find ourselves as a state in regards to education is a crucial moment where change is desperately needed. Would you guys agree? Change is desperately needed. We need a fresh vision. We need a new public school tradition. We can't keep following the same mentality and the same educational culture that we have been. Change can be challenging. Change can be difficult. And change is often met with resistance, and we've seen that, absolutely. But change is essential for growth. For the sake of Oklahoma's children, for the sake of Oklahoma's future, we must look at what we are doing and why it is not translating into better student outcomes. Some of the mentalities that I have a difficult time taking seriously. It's difficult for me to take seriously the mentality of someone who looks across Oklahoma and thinks that there's nothing wrong with the direction that education has been headed over the past decade. It's not to call out teachers, it's not to do it, but to look across Oklahoma with blinders and think that we are headed in the right direction in terms of education. I can't get on board with that mentality. I can't get on board with the culture and the mentality that look across Oklahoma and think that the answer to all the problems is unfettered amounts of funds. That if we just do more and more money, if we just put more and more money at it, that suddenly all the problems go away and everything is fixed. I can't get on board with that mentality. So in November, the people of Oklahoma resoundingly voted for change. It's needed, it's happening, and it's here. Change is happening. So, what is happening? Let's talk about some of those highlights. So, this is not meant to be an exhaustive list, but this is kind of more of a report of some of the key things, some of the highlights that we think are just common sense and that we're doing to try to change the culture within the State Department of Education to try to right the ship. So the first one being the teacher signing bonus. This has gotten some attention, and so to date, we have over 600 applications. Guys, these are people who were not in Oklahoma classrooms last year. So this is 600 applicants to re-enter or to enter for the first time Oklahoma public schools. Now, this innovative approach that Superintendent Walters took, he did with the intention of focusing on two areas that are historically understaffed and difficult to retain and to recruit teachers. So it was very focused and intentional on fulfilling staffing needs in two areas. The first one being early childhood, so pre-K through third grade general ed teachers. It's been difficult to recruit and retain historically for that position. We have over 350 PK through third grade general ed applicants, which I think is fantastic. Another area that has been difficult to recruit and retain is teachers for special ed. That is a very difficult and very skilled person that we're looking for to address those needs and to really care for that portion of our population that have special needs. We have almost 250 applicants of teachers who were not in Oklahoma classrooms last year looking to join us to help out with PK through 12th grade special education. So I think that is a huge win for the state of Oklahoma and for education. One thing I think we can all agree on, regardless of where we find ourselves on disagreeing or agreeing on the rest of these points, would be school safety. Yeah, absolutely. So when Superintendent Walters came into office, it was clear that there had been a disconnect between the State Department of Education and the Department of Public Safety. There seemed to be a little bit of a disconnect as to what kind of trainings, what kind of materials and resources we should be offering to schools. And so very early on, under the leadership of Superintendent Walters, he had some very high-level leadership conversations between the State Department of Education and DPS, the Department of Public Safety, to try to get everyone on the same page. So I'm excited to announce, and this just happened yesterday, so you guys might be the first to hear this, the Office of School Safety and Security that had been housed at the State Department of Education is now going to move and be under the leadership of DPS, under the leadership of the Department of Public Safety. So absolutely. This makes a lot of sense. This will mean that the safety trainings offered to our schools, the safety trainings offered to the teachers who are protecting our children while we are entrusting them to the school, means that they will be receiving trainings from the people who oversee. They're the trainings that are put together and overseen by the experts in law enforcement. Does that make sense? Isn't that common sense? So we're very happy about that. Throughout the remainder of the summer, we will be rolling out a much broader, comprehensive school safety plan. It's not quite ready for me to talk about quite yet. Yesterday was a piece to the dominoes falling. So just be paying attention over the rest of the summer as we start to roll out what this new comprehensive school safety plan looks like. All right, so another thing that we have been busy doing and looking at is we've been investigating DEI-related expenditures. So a couple of months ago, the Board of Education voted on an initiative that will require local schools to report any DEI-related expenditures. So we hear these words: diversity, equity, inclusion. And when you hear those words, they sound innocuous enough. But when you think about the implications, and when you put into practice these principles with a certain ideological bent or worldview, the result becomes division, exclusion, and indoctrination of principles and ideologies that subvert the parent and honestly go against the will of the people of Oklahoma. We are committed to protecting the civil rights of every child. And that's why we have House Bill 1775. That's why that's in place and that's there. We believe in all students receiving the same opportunities to succeed. At the Department of Education, we want, our aim and our mission is that when kids graduate, they are ready. They are ready for whatever success looks like for them next. For some, that will be military. For some, that will be a career tech or straight into a career, because our career techs are so phenomenal in training kids as they're going through high school to be ready for a career when they come out. So we want them to be ready for military, for career, for college. We want every kid to have the same opportunities to succeed. And it's possible when we focus on the core mission of education and not division, exclusion, and indoctrination. Something else we've been looking at, that we've been having to look at, is Title IX. So the Biden administration is looking at changing Title IX. They're wanting to change some of the definitions. They're wanting to insert some new rules. And it boils down to these new rules. If he goes forward with these, it's going to tip the scales in favor of male athletes who identify as women, not in favor of girls and women who this rule was enacted to protect in the first place. This would trample on our state's rights. We have laws in place in Oklahoma that are keeping it so that girls are protected and girls are the ones participating in girls' sports. So this tramples our state rights if this goes through. And Superintendent Walters was the first in the nation to push back on this. And we are preparing a lawsuit if the Biden administration decides to go forward with these rule changes. So a couple more things. I'm almost done. A couple of rules that the State Board of Education and Superintendent Walters put into place, and it had to go through the legislative process of being approved. And all of these three rules I'm going to talk about have been approved and will go into effect. So the first one being, last August, there was an emergency rule put in place regarding school bathroom usage. And it said that if the school has bathrooms that are multiple occupancy, then the occupancy of those bathrooms must be for the exclusive use of the male sex and the female sex. So that was a temporary rule. We have now in place a permanent rule that has been signed to replace that emergency rule. And it's a lot the same, but in this rule, it defines sex as the physical condition of being male or female based on genetics and physiology, as identified on the individual's original birth certificate. What'd you say? Common sense. Common sense. It's the common sense definition of sex. So moving forward, there's a not an emergency rule anymore. There is a permanent rule in place that says males will use male bathrooms and females will be protected and given the rights and the privacy that they deserve to have female bathrooms to themselves. Another common sense rule that was created by the State Board of Education and Superintendent Walters, and it was actually just signed yesterday. It was just signed yesterday that it will go into effect, prohibits school libraries from making pornographic materials or sexualized content available to minors. Guys, there are some that want you to enter their delusion. They want you to forget. Don't believe your eyes. Your eyes are lying to you. They want you to forget everything that you've seen. They want you to forget that legislators for the past 3 years have been exposing this and have been talking about this. For the last 3 years, there have been lists of books and where these books are. And the legislators have disseminated these on the House floor to all of their House members. So this idea, this delusion that this is not going on or that this is new or this is new information, guys, don't enter into that. Don't buy that nonsense. They want you to enter in this delusion. They want you to forget about the last 2 or 3 years, all the news reports that were out there about this stuff going on. They want you to forget that ever existed. They want you to forget all of the recorded school board meetings across Oklahoma where parents were bringing these books to their school boards, and their school boards were telling them, no, we're not going to remove these. They want you to enter in their delusion, and they want you to forget that all of that happened. But you know what? It doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter what delusion you believe. If you want to be a part of the delusion that thinks that this is not happening in schools, it doesn't matter anymore. There is a rule in place that says it will not happen in Oklahoma schools moving forward. And guys, this is not about banning books. This is not about banning books. Don't let them pin that argument on you. This is about selecting books based on their age appropriateness. The books in our public schools, in schools, mind you, places where parents don't have easy access to. In our public school libraries, the books should be about the core mission of education, not sexually provocative. This is not about banning books. Any book that doesn't belong in a public school library, if that parent so chooses, they will be able to go to a public library. They will be able to go to any number of retailers, and they have the freedom and the right to purchase whatever book they want for their child. But in a place where we are entrusting our children to on a daily basis, where we don't have ready access to, it is no place for books that are over-sexualized and provocative. It needs to be about education and age appropriateness. So another rule, this is the last one I'm going to talk about, that was created by the State Department, or the school board, and Superintendent Walters, and was signed again just yesterday. It was signed, so it will go into effect, is the rule that it adds strength to the Parent Bill of Rights. We have had a Parents' Bill of Rights in Oklahoma for some time now, but the rule that was signed yesterday now codifies that into school rules. And so it gives some more teeth, and it gives some more weight behind following these rules and consequences if you choose not to. So this rule that was signed protects parents' rights in their children's education. The rule expands parents' right to be informed about and to review sex education materials, including those related to gender identity and sexual orientation. And I think this is one of the most important parts. It enforces an existing prohibition. So there's something already on the books. And again, this is just putting it into our school rules so that now we can help try to enforce it. It enforces the existing prohibition that school employees from encouraging minors to keep information from their parents. And it requires them to disclose information to the parents. So now we have a rule on the books that honors and respects and protects the rights of parents to direct the education of their child. Absolutely. So again, I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you for the opportunity to share some of these important updates that are coming out of the State Department of Education. It has been an honor and a privilege. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Don, for inviting me out here and for giving me the opportunity. We love a group like this, a group that, again, this growing tent and this growing nucleus of people who are focused and who are also sharing a passion, as we are, of protecting parental rights and reforming public education. So God bless you guys, and I definitely look forward to speaking with you guys again in the future.
I want to thank Matt, and Would love to have you back anytime we need updates. You're the man. Thank you. One thing I want to mention, I think the primary basic difference between us and them is they believe in a subjective truth. Every individual has their own truth. We believe in objective truth. There's one truth only. But this is America, and people are entitled to disagree as long as we do it civilly. Now, I had our coordinators from Dewey County, folks. If you don't know where that at, it's butt up against Texas. They got a reason for being late. They had a long drive. James, where you at? Introduce yourself, your chapter, and when and where your meetings are. I went to their first meeting about a year ago, or was it, no, 2 years ago. I was told when I was headed over there, they were having their first meeting in an unair-conditioned venue in July. It was about 102. The whole time I'm driving over there, I'm thinking, man, we're going to be lucky to have 10 or 12 people. Folks, they had 75 people at their meeting. In Bi-Si's population is about 720. They had, in effect, more than 10% of the local population at their meeting. Blew me away, and it taught me you never sell Western Oklahoma short. Them folks out there are hardcore 24-karat patriots, and we're blessed to have them on board. Thank you for making the long drive today. And, okay, we've got, and somebody else I forgot. Riley Flack, stand up, please. Folks, if you don't know Riley, he's the hero down in Stillwater. If you've seen a clip of somebody reading Gender Queer, wasn't it? Wasn't that the book? Yeah. And he read it to the school board, and you could tell they were embarrassed to hear what was coming out of his mouth. He apologized 3 or 4 times for having to speak those words in public, but it was from the junior high library. Yeah, the junior high library in Stillwater. And have they remedied the boys and the girls' restrooms in Stillwater? This is the man that was the spark plug that made that happen in Stillwater. Give him a big hand. All right, let's see. Bingo. Okay. Now, first off, the president gets to talk first of the other speakers. Don Spencer, give him a big hand, folks. He works his butt off.
We'll take the show with you. That'd be about like Terry. Absolutely. He's got to be the hardest working guy in the OK2A organization. I mean, look at all the people that showed up here today, and I know they come to see your pretty face. So there we go, just like that. No, really, he's good. It is pretty face. Absolutely. We've had a good year this year at OK2A, but I do want to say real quick, Riley, man, keep up the good hard work, because that's exactly what it is. Just like Matt said that, I'm a nobody. Hey, welcome to the nobody list right here, folks. This is what it takes to stand back and stop and push back against literally the freak show. Am I losing this? Yeah. Okay, how's that? I turned it over, so maybe that'll work. It's just as good as anything else, right? So anyway, but we've got to continue to push back on the freak show, and Matt has done such a great job. I've worked with Representative Walters, State Superintendent Walters on this, and I will add to the fact that State Superintendent Walters is very aggressive on making sure that the security of a classroom includes, if the school district approves, that there could be a firearm in that class on that teacher. So and he is all on that. And I will say, as you've heard me say before, the only thing stopping that is Republicans. The bill has been passed out of the House. Thank you, Chris Banning, for voting for it. Also, the bill is in the Senate right now, and it is on ice. And that's just what the Senate tends to do with a lot of this stuff. But be that as it may, what we are going to do here very quickly, there was this one little bill called House Bill 1789, and it may not sound like much to people, but it gave some definitions in it that were very important because, believe it or not, there was no definition for a firearm in the Oklahoma Self-Defense Act. And we've only been trying to do this for 4 years. So you wait for a spark plug to get in, get involved, and I mean just flat run with it. So at this time, I'm going to present State Representative Chris Banning an award. So you thought you were just going to show up in jeans and be, I know, this is a cool part. This is a cool part about this. Now, come right on in here. The bill, like I say, this bill was cleanup language for constitutional carry. It took care of the word pistol and expanded it to firearms, so there's no doubt by any law enforcement officer, prosecuting attorney, anybody, your rights are not to be infringed. So this helps clarify that very much as we continue to push this. This reads, in highest recognition and appreciation to the legislator who was the most aggressive defender of the return of the God-given right to self-preservation by authoring and advancing legislation that reflects support for the U.S. Constitution and for Oklahomans' Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms is being presented to State Representative Chris Banning, the Minuteman of the Year Award, sir. There you go, just like that. Just like that. You betcha. You want to say something? You want to say something? Okay, all right, yeah, Chris. Oh, we're doing a picture. There we go. You betcha. Yeah. Here you go. You bet. Hey, we don't do that for just anybody, folks. That's a fact. Also, we're not going to find that in the Ponca City Pawn Shop in an hour, are we? No. No. Okay. Just check. I ask a lot of legislators that just to make sure stuff don't end up at the pawn shop. Okay. But folks, it's people like you getting behind people like him when we inform you this is the guy you want to support, this is the gal you want to support because we have both and we push. And this is why OK2A has become so effective over the number of years to get this stuff done. And we're going to continue to do that. And like I say, the one thing that it kind of cracks me up, it kind of made me mad at first, but I get private messages and text and phone calls and stuff. Your Second Amendment, you stay in your lane. And I'm like, nope, we're liberty. Get out of our way because it is our lane. Because all of this stuff goes together. If a public school will lie to a child, a student, and convince them there's more than two genders, they will lie to a student and tell them there is no Second Amendment right. That's why we have to be involved. And we should have been involved much more a long time ago, so it never got in this position. We're awake now. People like Ryan Walters is exactly why we're making sure this thing moves forward, and we work to get him elected along with a bunch of other groups. So yay our side for that. I want to thank you, like I said, I want to thank you guys for all being here today. And Pastor Burleson, it's good to see you again today, too. I appreciate you showing up. We're going to continue to move this forward. And I'm not going to take up much more time here, but folks, we can't do it without you. If you're not a member of OK2A, I have no idea what you're waiting on. I'm going to flip it over again here. It seems to be the trick. I'm going to, real quick, has anyone, and it's going to be a short question, any questions on legislation? Like that took place this year, last year, old laws, new laws? See, oh, you got one? I'm only taking questions in English, okay? Okay? What do you got?
Well, Mr. Mann talking about the rules for the bathrooms and all
Right.
that, the laws. Is there any teeth?
Any teeth in it?
So that superintendent school boards that have, we're going
Actually, that's a great question. Is there any teeth in the laws that were just passed to keep boys out of the girls' restrooms? And this is what we've learned at OK2A. It's called incrementalism. First, you get something established. Then you come back and you add more things to tighten it down and tighten it down. I think they should be pretty convinced by now. State Representative Walters is serious about this, and he's not going to let off of it. So his teeth are some pretty good teeth to start with. And we can always have more conversation with that with Representative Banning after this, too, because you're right. It's got to have something to it. It's got to have some meaning to it, and work from there. Yes, sir.
It does. It has a 5% funding hit.
Oh, that's right. Thank you very much. It has a 5% funding. If the school system violates it, they can lose 5% of their funding. So if you're a major district like Tulsa or Oklahoma City, how many? I think that was up as like $10 million that could be. Well, that's a pretty good spank right there. So, but yeah, thank you for reminding me of that, Riley. Appreciate that. And yeah, like, yay, our side. See, people say, it cracks me up. People say, those politicians up there, they don't care about nothing. And the fact is, no, folks, we actually have some really good people in some good spots that we got to stay behind and keep them there and get more of them there to help them so we can turn this thing around, and we can't let off. We cannot let off the throttle one bit for 1 minute, because we've seen what it does. There's some guy in Washington, D.C. that wants to take your guns. I don't know if anyone's ever heard about that deal or not either. Maybe you've heard of him, but anyway, we're keeping an eye on that too. But folks, thank you so much for being here. We can't do it without you. You're the reason why we get this done. It's not me. It's not one representative. It's not just Terry. It takes all of us. And so I appreciate you guys staying in the fight, and let's keep after it.
Thanks, Don. Oklahoma is blessed to have Don Spencer. He did this for years for free before he started drawing a check, and it was the board of directors that insisted he get paid. He didn't ask for it. He's a good man. Wade Burleson, you're up, brother.
Yeah, we'll make it quick. All right. Hey, listen, I love this guy right here. My wife and I are so impressed with Terry, and what a great group today. Let me just tell you what's going on. And it was in the paper today, yesterday. We have made a recommendation that every public schoolroom in Oklahoma place the 10 Commandments beside the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. And I'll just give you the reason why. People will say, well, now wait a minute. If we do that, can't we open it up to other religions? No. Here's the reason why. This is a historical document. House Bill 2177 states that the moral foundation of our country are the 10 Commandments. And so because it's historical, that's why it's going on the wall. In addition, what are you afraid of? That a kid will walk by and see, thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not steal? That's just absolutely ridiculous that it's harmful. Okay, but let me give you the philosophical reason why this must be done. The Declaration of Independence defines 3 inalienable rights. That's a big word, but let me explain it. You go down to the bank and you buy a car with their money. They give you a lien. That means they own the car. Inalienable rights mean you can't give away the right to life, you can't give away the right to liberty, and you can't give away the right to private property. You say, wait, I thought it means happiness. No, Thomas Jefferson said, it's private property that leads to happiness, and I'll consent to the change as long as you tell future generations that their property cannot be taken from them. It's inalienable. It comes from God. Here's the problem. If you don't know that there's a God and you're accountable to Him, then you don't know about your rights. You think the government is God. Make sense? So when you hear people say, oh, the 10 Commandments on the wall, oh, I'm against that, understand, it's not a religious thing. It's a philosophical, natural law thing. It's what our country was founded upon. And explain it to them like that. And then they say, well, I'm a Muslim, or I'm a Hindu, or I'm an atheist. I don't believe in those commandments. You know what you say to them? Well, you should, because the only reason you're free to be an atheist, to be a Hindu and a Muslim, is because we understand inalienable rights. Make sense? Okay, I'll close with this. We came out yesterday. It's going through the Department of Education. It's grassroots. It has nothing to do with state government. It's just a bunch of people who don't care about the pushback. But let me tell you something. When it came out yesterday, oh my word, you would have thought we stepped on a hornet's nest. You know, but again, understand this. It takes people like you explaining why this must happen in our educational system across Oklahoma. Amen? Amen. God bless you.
Thank you, Wade. For those of you that don't remember, Wade challenged Frank Lucas in the last primary, and I hope I get a chance to vote for Wade Burleson again soon. Okay, a couple more. Reed, would you come up and tell people a little bit about school boards for kids? Reed Downey, folks, the hardest working guy in Oklahoma for liberty and for our kids. Thank you for coming.
I'd like for everyone to see this. When I look out across the crowd here today, it reminds me of the America that I grew up in, that I was born in. You're the people that make America work. A lot of people don't give you credit for that, but you do. You're the president of our nation. Terry likes to brag about 6 years. When I was born, Franklin Roosevelt was president. And that was a long time ago. What I'm wearing around my neck, I refer to as a dead albatross. Any of you familiar with the rhyme of the Ancient Mariner? You? The mariner killed the albatross. The albatross was a sign of good luck. Calm seas, fair winds. But because he killed the albatross, his entire crew died. Have you heard the term water, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink? It came from that rhyme. The albatross in our case is the death of the education system that existed before 1960, when we actually taught kids to read and write and study American history, American civics, and to know the river is. Astounding. Have you heard of the term National Assessment of Education Progress, NAEP? No, most people haven't. 1988, Congress passed a law that says we're going to test kids every 2 years in math and reading. These are the results from the 2022 NAEP test. Fourth grade reading, 24% of the kids in Oklahoma are proficient in reading. We rank 48th in the nation. Eighth grade reading, 21.28% proficient in reading. Fourth grade math, 27% proficient in math, national ranking 41. Eighth grade math, 15.93% of our eighth graders are proficient in math. These are high schools in Oklahoma City. Math and English. Capitol Hill High School, 5% proficient. These are high school students. These aren't grade school, this is high school. 2% proficient in math. The best one is Classen High School of Advanced Studies. These are where all the brainy kids go. 84% proficient in English. Why not the other 16%? 59% proficient in math, 84% in reading. Douglas High School, all-black school. 8% proficient in English, 1% proficient in math. John Marshall, 7% proficient in English, 3% in math. Star Spencer, another black school, 5% proficient in reading, 0% proficient in math. There are 34,000 students in the Oklahoma City Public Schools, and there's 36,000 in the Tulsa Public Schools. What future do they have if they can't read and do basic math? What future do they have? I was on the board of a KIPP school, which was an all-black charter school. They came from difficult circumstances, a lot of them. By the end of the 5th grade, 75% of those kids could read, proficient. By the end of the 8th grade, they were all superior, advanced. There is nothing wrong with the kids, nothing. And we don't have a teacher problem. We have teachers who are quite capable of producing kids who can read and do math. So what's the problem? This decline in our education system started when the NEA became a union. And it's continued to decline ever since then. I don't want to leave out the AFT. Where the union strength is strongest, the academics are the least, or the lowest. If Moms for Liberty can be called domestic terrorist, or parents who go to a school board meeting and the Justice Department wants the FBI to investigate them and say they're a domestic terrorist. The real terrorists, if there are the teachers' union. I go to the state school board meetings, and I hear some people get up and talk about transgender kids, and if we don't accept them as they are, then kids will die. And it's a tragedy anytime a kid dies, particularly for the parents. What I don't hear is someone coming to the school board and complaining about the hundreds of kids that die every day from fentanyl overdoses. The teachers union, AFT, NEA, funnel hundreds of millions of dollars into political campaigns. We have an open border. Tons of fentanyl are coming across that border because of what we elected in 2020. It's time to bring it to an end. We said the Pledge of Allegiance when you open this meeting. If If you can stand, I'd like for you to stand. And repeat after me. 7 years ago, our forefathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are gathered on a great battlefield of that war to dedicate a portion of that field to those who died here. We here highly resolve that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from this earth. We are engaged in a cold civil war. The objective of that war is the hearts and minds of our kids, and it's being fought in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, and fourth grade. It's a fight we have to win. We cannot continue to exist as a constitutional republic with an illiterate citizenry. Thank you.
Thank you, Reed. Chris, yeah, you're up next, brother. You can get more than 2 minutes.
No, just a few minutes. I really appreciate it. So, as was said before, my name is Chris Banning, House District 24, which is Bixby, Glenpool, and South Tulsa, Okmulgee. But I'm a military veteran. Been married for 17 years. We have 6 kids, and 2 that graduated Oklahoma State University, and 4 in public education. And I had the public education system come against me with force, to the point a superintendent emailed me from a school email telling me I had stolen valor. And if you guys, which is a whole different level, I shot him an email and said, let's meet as a man, tell me that to my face. But it was a different level of communication for me because it took me overboard. But my 2 kindergartners, one of them was asked to read a quote of the month. The quote of the month was not a bad quote that said, let's all come together and be nice and whatever. So my kindergartner, after memorizing this quote for an entire week, he said, hey, Dad, who's Audre Lorde? I said, well, I don't know. It's not George Washington. It's not Abraham Lincoln. It's not, who is Audre Lorde? So if you have your cell phones out right now, if you'll Google Audre Lorde, this is who they had my kindergartner memorizing. It's Audrelorde. It's a leftist, lesbian, whatever, but he asked who that was, and I, as a parent, I just sent him an email. I said, they're too young. I'll explain that to them later on. But in kindergarten, they don't understand. I mean, my daughter still walks in the shower and says, hey, Dad, do you want breakfast? I say, hey, get out of here. Yes, I do, so they don't understand at that age, and so I can't explain what that is. But so it's more than just books in our schools. My 14-year-old, at the time was 13, checked out a book called Police Brutality. But I bet they don't have one called Teacher Wrongdoings. He also checked out a book called BLM. So it's more than just books and different things. This push is at every single angle, at every age. They made my 2 kindergartners leave the kindergartner school they were in. They said, hey, we need to relocate you. You're in the wrong district. So we had to move to a school that was actually further away. We thought the closest one was the one we were supposed to be in, but we're in a battle for these kids. To come against a conservative, a true conservative, that I love public education. I really do. I just want to straighten it out. I want my kids to be safe when they go there. I don't want to have to worry about dropping them off and coming back with a quote from Audre Lorde that he now thinks, hey, that's got to be okay. If you go to the mall today, most of us still walk on the right side of the hall because we were taught that in kindergarten or first grade. So now what we learn in those schools is what we bring on. So it's not about the books or anything else. It's about what's right and wrong. And that's what we all have to stand up for. So that's all I wanted to say. I had a hard time following that, but thank y'all for letting me speak today.
I neglected Joe Baden back here, the big guy in the blue shirt. Joe is our fairly newly elected K County GOP chairman. The meetings for that are on the fourth Thursday at Pioneer Tech at 7 p.m. It's usually the Thursday before this meeting, and would highly encourage people to come. Joe's getting things organized and shaking the tree a little bit here. Thank you, Joe. Since we've talked about the teachers union, there is an alternate here called Professional Oklahoma Educators, POE. I was blessed to meet Ginger, what's her last name? Ginger Tenney at a meeting of Reed's. She had a graph. They've been around about 11 or 12 years. The graph started, here was OEA's membership and here was their membership. And now it's out here. They're within about 1,000 or 1,500 people as to have the same membership as the OEA. They're conservative. They are, they do not get involved in politics as opposed to the OEA. And I would love to change her mind on that. So we'll just have to see. But POE, if you hear anything about that, they're the good union. Okay. Also, Matt had another commitment. He had to be back down to Oklahoma City by 2:30 today for another meeting. So that's why he had to leave so quickly. Now, we've got a little bit of time. I'm going to open the floor for questions. Please understand any answers I give are my answers, Terry Thompson, and also OK2A, because the boss is here. If I answer it wrong, he'll whack me in the head and give you the right answer. And I may just refer it to him anyway. So the way we do it at questions, raise your hand one at a time. I'll call on you in the best way I can remember the order the hands were raised. And you can ask any question you want. Yeah. Stand, please, so everybody can hear you and speak up.
What is the legislature doing with the curriculum for the school? Because the curriculum is what's corrupt. We need to change the curriculum in order to teach the kids.
Well, that'd be a good question to refer to our representative here. Would you mind feeling that?
Well, I'm not on the state board, or I'm not on the on any education committees. I'm on 4 different committees, which is elections and ethics, business and commerce. So I try to look into those every once in a while, but I can't answer that because I'm not on those committees. But I'd sure love to answer that question. I'm a freshman. Next year, I hope to be able to answer that. So I apologize.
Yeah.
Over the last 10 years, each division of the education department has redone all of these skills and the things that are supposed to be taught in the classroom. The last one that was just finished was the fine arts. It just got finished. So
that's your department, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have redone every single, we no longer have those past skills. Over the last 10 years, they have taken each division, pulled in parents, pulled in teachers, pulled in legislators, and everybody to work on this. I will say the main change I see is they're much looser.
Okay. Folks, this is Dawn Huff. She's one of my neighbors in Tonkawa, and she's kind of unusual. She's an art teacher and is a conservative. How?
Actually, I've been a teacher for 40 years, and I actually have 3 degrees and 6 certifications.
There you go. Yeah. Thanks for coming, Don. Questions? Floor is open for any question. He was first, and then you're second. Just a second, wait. Yeah, he was at first.
Just had a quick question. I know OK2A had a great bill this last year that was going to extend the castle doctrine from the walls of your home to the edges of your property. And I just wanted to hear, I heard he got killed, and I was hoping maybe Don would speak about that.
Yeah, let's talk about that. As I referred to and mentioned earlier, I'm going to be more specific this time. When I say Republicans are the problem, It's Senate Republican leadership that is the problem, and it's not just to Second Amendment issues and private property issues. It's across the board. You can even see the governor's frustration. That's why he went into his tizzy and did a whole bunch of vetoes, and of course then they all come back and got overridden. So nothing was really accomplished. But where the bill is currently, it is in the Public Safety Committee's possession. It still needs to be heard there, and so it can go to the Senate floor. So we're going to be pushing on it the first week of session next year. There it is. Let's hear it. Let's go with it, and get them to start moving it forward. Because I'm not going to listen to this excuse. Oh well, we forgot. We ran out of time. So yeah, Joe, does someone?
Someone left this in the bathroom.
It's what is it?
Like a little book or something like that. Kindle.
Okay, a little Kindle. Okay. Of course, we got a big Kindle here too.
Don, what's the number on that bill?
House Bill 2051 is the version that is in the best position to move to the governor's desk. Like I say, your state senator here, folks, this is such a big deal. You don't hear me come out and say this. I'm going to tell my state senator this, who's brand new. I'm going to tell him, if you cannot convince, even though you're not on the committee, even though you're not in Senate leadership, if you can't convince them to hear this bill, we'll find someone that will. We're tired of this crap. Yes, Joe.
Wasn't there a person who holds an office that could override Senate leadership that came here to this room?
Yeah. And we haven't worked that play yet. But yes, the lieutenant governor is the president of the Senate. The lieutenant governor can go in and can take the gavel during session and say, bring this bill to the floor. And he failed to do that twice at our request. Also, he can go in and replace chairs and put someone else on the chair to get something to move. He also has that authority to do so. So if someone wants to come in here as a lieutenant governor and tell you they've done everything to protect your second rights, folks, that is stuff that's at the bottom of the corral. And twice as deep. Because I have point blank, and again, when we get down to it, if we can't get the bill heard, we're going to go to every avenue possible to do so. But like I say, I like to work within the system that's to begin with, and also sometimes if you stand back and you be quiet, sometimes something will move through that takes place because you're not over there pushing on them. And then sometimes you have to put pressure on them to get things heard. And Terry, I'm going to have to correct you here. This is one thing. Because of your work, OK2A, and also grassroots groups, a few of you may remember back just a couple years ago, there was a House bill that told the federal government that your overreach stops here, and it was House Bill 1236. And so we had gotten it through the House, and the Senate was saying, nope, we're killing it. The pro tem told me face to face, no, we're not hearing the bill. And so we called for a rally the same night of an OK2A meeting, and we had about 1,000 people show up. That's because of people like you, and as a result of that, it eventually put that back into play. The Senate passed it, put it on the governor's desk, the governor signed it into law. So which included any Second Amendment overreach, any private property overreach. I mean, it had a list of 9 things that when the federal government is overreaching, the Attorney General will be your attorney to fight back and stop it. So that's what's important. So I hope that kind of answers your questions on that. But yeah, folks, every elected official matters, including right here in your own backyard with your city council, your school board members, your county commissioners. It all matters, judges, and we're working on that too. Thank you for bringing that up. Real quick, what we're going to do is I'm working. People may think this is backwards, but folks, just get with me. We need legislation that every courtroom in this state has video access and is recorded. So we can watch what these judges are doing. We can watch what the district attorneys are doing. We can watch what law enforcement's doing if they're a part of it too. Because that's what so much of this stuff goes. What happens if you pull your phone out and you're in a courtroom? You're going to jail. Yeah, but you know what happens if you do that in Nevada? They can't touch you. Right, as long as you're not disrupting or anything like that. That needs to happen here, and that's what so many of our problems are in this state, especially in the latest abortion ruling by our own state Supreme Court, that they pull from stuff from just imaginary. So what we're going to do is we're going to find out which Supreme Court justice has done us wrong, and we're going to get them voted out next election.
Thank you, Don. Thank you for the correction. You know what, folks? It's the 24th of June. I made it almost 7 months this year before I made a mistake. How about that? As I've mentioned before, I have 2 ex-wives, and neither one of them were ever able to grasp the concept that Terry is right about everything. And they left me. Can you imagine? The first one is an avowed Marxist. Adios. In addition to cameras in the courtrooms, I'd like to see cameras in the classrooms, so parents could log on and see what their kids are being taught. So, and I'm sure to get that, we're going to have to break the back of the OEA. But anyway, yes, Char.
Speaking of seeing what's going on in the classroom, where are we are we forcing our children in schools to define their programs or their pronouns? Because mine was real easy.
My guess is that would depend on the school. Is there anybody got to read? Do you know anything further on that?
School boards can control that.
Yeah. So that's.
You're going to get into fervent when you start putting cameras in the room. We'd love to have cameras in the room, but you can't even be in the yearbook or have your school picture taken unless your parents have signed waivers.
Yeah, well, I still think it'd be a good idea, but there's, who knows how it's gonna. Yeah, Reed.
Terry, cameras would also protect teachers.
Exactly. If I was in a classroom teaching with young kids, what? He said that would protect the teachers. And I guarantee if I was teaching young kids, I would want a camera just to keep myself from being falsely accused of you know what. And if you're a middle-aged or elderly man in this country, that is a weapon that is used on a regular basis. I have no patience in the cases where it's true, but a lot of times it's not. Other question? Yeah. Riley Flack, everybody.
Who do you think in Oklahoma has all political power?
Yeah, you're up.
No, you're up.
I don't have to think. It's higher education. It's the 4th branch of the government. It's the problem.
And that's the case right now, but if you look at our state constitution, it tells the answer, but a lot of us don't know.
Riley, come on up here. Come on up here where they care. We got a bunch of old ears in this room, I think. Anybody got old ears besides me? Seasoned ears, there you go.
Brief, we'll get home. So we don't understand what our own Constitution says, and we need to read it. And it has wisdom in there that has been hidden from us. Oklahoma Constitution. Luke 11:52 says, lawyers, woe to you lawyers, you've hidden the key of knowledge. Statutes come from legislators. Legislators they exist to be our servants because we said they could. I quote, Article 2, Section 1. All political power is inherent in the people. All of it. Not some of it. Not the governor, not the legislature, we have all of it. And it says it's inherent in the people. Before this was written, it was true. We have all the power. And it says we can alter or reform the government. When can we do that? When we vote? Nope. It says whenever. Whenever. So if they're to protect our rights, our security, our well-being, our property, and they don't do it, when can we get rid of them? When? And why? How do we know that? Hallelujah.
Thank you, Riley. Yeah, Wade, your turn.
Well, this gentleman over here asked the question I was asking.
Oh, okay.
I used to be, I was a high school teacher for several years and a correctional teacher for several years. Excuse me. At one time, I was a member of OEA. I learned just by going to one of their meetings just how ridiculous what they had to stand for was. I mean, it's just ridiculous. They were talking about, you know, making things in school with the kids and stuff like that. They weren't talking about any important issues. And now I'm a Washington County delegate, and I was a delegate to the state Republican convention. And I thought both the Washington County and the state convention were just like that meeting with the OEA. I thought that was just the most, it was like a playground full of kids telling on each other. And I mean, we need at the local level, we need to fix the GOP in this state. Yes, that's all I got to say.
Yeah, they're trying to do that.
We have solid leadership to exactly do that exact thing.
Yeah. Any other questions? No? Well, folks, Joe, yeah.
Did you see that article about the OK2A group in Ogle this morning? I think they posted it this morning.
Yeah, Brad.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, it kind of looked
Los
ridiculous to me.
Ogle has absolutely no value other than being the bottom of a bird pen. There's no use for it. I've been a part of their lies, and it's completely inaccurate. It's completely blown out. It's completely someone from a basement somewhere that's doing this. If you take that for anything granted, your foolishness is taken completely upon yourself. And I bet you the pastor has a verse related specifically to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, he was asking about an article in some left-wing publication. And Don's answer is the important part of it. It being published so you've got something in the bottom of your bird cage.
Look at DuckDuckGo, the speaker. That's what came up.
Well,
I don't know, like, it seems like
there's a lot,
the algorithm's against the group. The algorithm is against the
Yeah, what a surprise that is. Okay, no other questions? We're open for questions from anybody. Okay, folks, well, we got out of here in about 88 minutes. Thank you for coming. The meetings here are every fourth Saturday at 12 noon without fail. K County never cancels a meeting. Second Tuesdays, 6 p.m. at Mary's Grill in Tonkawa. Come early and order supper. My card's back there. If you don't have one, get one. Oh, and if you didn't sign in, what am I going to talk about? The sign-in sheet. Please sign in and grab a card, and you can call me anytime. Thank you for coming, folks. God bless America.